Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories, and today we're talking about those little itty-bitty moments that you can share around your Thanksgiving dinner table. Yep, that's right, your proud moments. Oh yeah, not in life, of course, but in D&D, because this is where we talk about D&D. So, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, everyone, and anyone in between, because we love all of you very, very much, all equally, I might add. Please leave a comment down below talking about your proudest moment in D&D. That said, let's get right into players and DMs. What's your proudest D&D moment? I'll start. Mine was when, as a low-level druid, I took down a dragon with Moonbeam after being laughed at for casting such a fluffy-sounding spell. Here's some context. We were fighting it in a narrow ruined tower with no roof, and my DM friend planned to have the dragon stick around fighting us in the tower as long as possible, but then fly away when its health got low. Well, my DM forgot about Moonbeam being a 40-foot tall cylinder, and the dragon had to take several turns to make its way out of the top of the tower, resulting in its death. Nobody mocked my Moonbeam after that. Our DM had set up a very harrowing situation. We were tracking the presumably only survivor of a massacre on an island. We'd followed the trail into a large open cavern. Ahead on the floor below, we could see the injured NPC crawling away from multiple monsters. The only way down was a narrow switchback trail, and several of the monsters could fly or harry us with ranged attacks. Then my Earth Domain cleric stepped up and cast Wall of Stone and made a slide. I mean, probably pretty meager in comparison, but when my very shy, reserved player stated of his own volition that he wanted to socialize with one of my NPCs that had interacted with the party previously because he liked them. That was delightful to me, and that is not meager in any means. When you get a shy player to come out of their shell, you as a DM did something good. This may just be word vomit, but I'll try and keep it short. My campaign, based in the real world, which is colliding with the fantasy world. Think Fallout with magic. The party had been traveling with a small caravan, mainly to look after a somewhat sickly-looking pregnant woman when the time came. They had not yet reached town, but she was already going into labor. The cleric got ready and each party member did their own thing to help. Eventually, she delivered a tiny baby with black hair and strangely purple eyes. They went to check on the woman and realized she had died. In a panic, the cleric tried to cast Revivify, but they didn't have a diamond. After a few checks and some lucky rolls, the child's father found a diamond and was able to bring it to the cleric. What happened afterwards was an intense session of rolling these checks for the offerings each player put up, one of them even putting up themselves, which permanently cost them a couple hit points. But seeing them so invested and excited when she came back to life was probably one of my proudest moments as the DM. I only have DM'd a couple times, and this campaign is my baby, and you delivered a baby in it too, so congratulations. I cast Reduce on a giant boulder and rolled it down a hill towards the guards holding a party member captive. Once out of spell range, it returned to normal size and crushed 6 of them. Oh, and once used Shape Water to move a 5-foot cube of water to block a doorway. And then froze it, blocking reinforcements from ever entering that room. Low-level spells can be so useful. Also, reminds me of that little arc, Greed Island on Hunter x Hunter. Everybody check that out. I successfully got another character's family killed. I was a spy, and I was able to manipulate, lie, and cheat my way through roleplay with that other character for months to pull it off. To this day, no one knows it was me. I'm even on to playing a new character now. And the DM and I have never told them it was me all along. Dun, 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 dun. And to be clear, I did this all basically above board. I did not hide my actions with the exception of 2 short text messages to my DM. Also, before anyone gets mad, everyone at the table expected awful things to happen. So it wasn't a broken game, everyone was still having fun, even with dead NPCs. And it's ended up being the most motivating and poignant thing that's happened in the campaign. Many, many years ago, a group of adventurers set off from a small town on the west coast of a continent to travel across the continent, growing in power until they reached the east coast and a reported dragon's lair. After our first month, we, human, wizard, dwarf cleric, human barbarian, which at the time was a new class, halfling thief, human paladin, and elf ranger, were doing well. The GM had spent months mapping out the continent with all permanent lairs, cities, towns, forts, lost dungeons, etc. Anyway, as we were traveling, we came to a small path leading off the main road. We could see it led toward a low, solitary hill. We investigated the path and it led to a cave. We explored the cave, which diverged into two paths. The left side was filled with refuse, rotting carcasses, several loose boulders, a huge bed, table, and chair. We assumed it was probably a giant, and promptly moved our almost second-level butts to check the other tunnel. It opened up into a second cavern, but piled in the middle was a huge mound of treasure. After a few rounds of freaking out over our good luck, the ranger heard something moving in the back of the cave. A chimera dragged itself into the light. Oh, we ran. The ranger made it out of the cave first. 10 feet past the cave entrance, a boulder came hurtling out of the sky to turn the ranger into a red smear. We came to a skidding halt, and I, barbarian, peeked around the edge toward the top of the hill. There, grinning while gently bouncing another boulder in his hand, was a hill giant. We couldn't make a run for it, and we couldn't hide in the cave because the chimera was slowly coming out. As the party argued, I pulled a Leroy and charged the giant. The GM and I proceeded to have one of the most one-sided dice battles ever. He could not roll above a 4 and I never rolled below 17. My party stood dumbfounded as round after round I danced around the giant, raining two-handed sword strikes down upon the giant. Oh, it was glorious. Well, it lasted anyway, because then I lost initiative, and my GM rolled an nat 20. My poor barbarian was driven into the ground like a tent spike. My party stood in shocked horror as the wizard raised his hand to cast magic missile and finish off the giant. They were all enveloped in a cone of fire, as we had all forgotten about the chimera, except the GM, who, of course, had been tracking its progress the entire time. No one made their saving throw. Also, that sounds really brutal. My God. TPK that early? Good luck. The time I got the whole table to sing with me. Ooh, I'm excited. I was playing a bard who, for somewhat complicated reasons, was being carried up a tower by my NPC boyfriend with very low strength, being a druid-type caster. I decided to inspire the NPC, but since my bard spellcasting was flavored as dance and acrobatics, and she was currently unable to walk, I had to resort to singing. On a whim, I began singing Be a Man from the animated Mulan movie, and the whole table joined in. The inspiration gave the NPC a 20 for his strength check, and he made it all the way to the top of the tower. A close second is when I roleplayed my current character, a himbo paladin, so well that I made the co-DM cry. I was a paladin defending a church from Strahd's undead monsters. The whole group had already fallen, and the master spawned one final enemy, an undead ogre. All alone and with low spell slots, my character managed to kill the beast, while screams things like, "For Barovia, in the name of Saint Markovia," etc., so on and so forth in Templar jargon. My interpretation of the moment was that he was no longer a hero, but someone who gave up his life for protecting the church, since there was no chance of killing the ogre. Surprisingly, two nat 20 smiled upon him and turned the tide of the fight. As a DM, I think it was during a tough battle against the leader of an assassin's guild in the Plane of Shadow. During that battle, basically all the party were in dire straits, and since the enemy was gaining some distance, they were spread out quite a bit. The cleric wanted to heal himself, but a fellow PC said, "I've got a bad feeling. Go ahead and reach the others." That's because the cleric was the only one with Close Wounds, a 3.5 spell that allows a ranged heal as an immediate action. Think 5th edition reaction. The amount of healing is small, but it would keep alive someone who had just dropped to -10 hit points, for example, leaving the character at negative hit points, but still stable. Then the enemy's turn came, and she casted a spell that would have killed the druid if the cleric wasn't in range to cast Close Wounds and save the druid's skin. It felt like a scene taken from an epic movie. I really liked that kind of team play. To make this story short, I got a DM to sell me ammonium in one session, and bleach about 10 sessions later. The table was shocked when I used mage hand shenanigans to mix them together behind enemy lines in a fight. The DM had to end the session early to figure out how to salvage the mess I made. As a DM, the final battle of my first full campaign. 6 hours, 25 NPCs on the board, 6 different layer effects, and 4 different win conditions. Oh, it was a hell of a fight. As a player, there have been quite a few. Convincing a distraught teen not to throw herself off of a bridge, viciously mocking a pirate captain to death by spitting on him, saving a city by making an impossible choice. I've had a good 4 years with my little palabard. In my first campaign with a DM who I no longer play with, we were fighting ropers, which can be a deadly encounter if you are unprepared. What made them even worse was that the DM didn't read the stat block correctly, and made it so their real ability made them pull you all the way to them. This was impossible to combat as a monk, aka my character. My only option was to let them grab me and pull me in close for the disadvantage. So my level 7 monk is going back and forth between failing and succeeding to punch basically a rock for like 4 turns solo, while the rest of the party is dealing with the other as well as a dropper. At 2 HP, I tell my DM that I'm going to attack, as I have very few other options at this point. Tried running, failed. Tried getting help, didn't get any. Plus, I was told that the creature was looking weak. I roll for my first attack and get 2 natural 20s. I rolled high for damage and killed it. Slow falling to safety, beaten and battered, I lay on the cold stone of the cave we were in until I was accidentally kicked by the artificer, who is my character's adoptive sister and best friend, dropping me to 1 HP. I was about to let my character roll death saves just to mess with her. In my first D&D game, I lured a bugbear into water, took a hit, ran out of the water, and used shocking grasp on the water. Players were facing a young black dragon in an underground lake. The dragon would hide under the water, giving it 3/4 cover, until she recharged her breath weapon, then pop up her head to use it before diving under the water again. Cleric used command to get the dragon out of the water. Barbarian grappled the dragon to keep it there. When the dragon successfully escaped the grapple, the wizard used silvery barbs to make it re-roll. Great teamwork. Loved it. I was sent to another plane that was literally burning up. Turn the AC on. The party fainted from the heat. My kobold barbarian literally carried everyone to the exit portal while using his ice breath to relieve them from the heat. Mini Chad, also ice breath. Wow, could you imagine the amount of AC we would save yearly if we could just have ice breath, everybody? Come on, somebody out there is a scientist. Go invent it. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, back at it again, checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, to come and leave a comment. Yes, comment down below about your proudest D&D moment. And if you could, you can take the time out of your day and maybe come say hi to me, Brian Von VA, over on Twitch. My link is in the description below. That's my website, and you can see everything you want to see about me as a voice actor, a streamer, everything. And I was just kind of hoping that if for a Christmas miracle and get to 1,000 followers on Twitch or something, I don't know. I love you guys, girls, boys, everybody, everyone in between, you know, because just you guys have made my life perfect. You really have. You've honestly made my life a lot better, and that's the positive message again. I just want to say, reading all these stories and working for MrRipper for 3 to 4 years has been a blast, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And I wouldn't miss this for the world. You've gotten me into some cool shit, so let's see where y'all take me in 2023, but we're not quite there yet. We got 1 month to go, and maybe one more set of stories this ass end of November. I love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.